The launch meta has started to settle with certain comps rising to the top, but overall for that first patch the balance has been extremely good. However, a single pro has been constantly falling back to the same strategy pretty much every single game and putting up great results with it. That being Wigwugg here. In the last 20 games, in 18 of them, he has been playing around Vi as his main tank, mostly into that adapter reroll, sometimes into that Tristana, but pretty much angling the possibility to reroll almost every single time unless presented with a top tier opportunity to play something else. Wigwugg obviously being the connoisseur of these niche meta reads, sometimes being able to execute some of the wonky lines and possibilities to play around them, and fundamentally amazing player who has improved over the last year, maybe even the most of all the pros in the scene. Therefore, we're going to be jumping in game with him right now, playing around that Karma opener. We have that Spear of Shojin, could consider possibly playing into any form of an AP line from here. Sterak's Gauge, if we manage to upgrade the Camille, also a great slammer that we could be playing Camille a Demon, but we are lacking a little bit gold to be holding onto this Akali, or holding onto these defenders, because Cassiopeia reroll is also extremely strong. Many ways we can be taking this, sitting on a lot of pairs, have to see what we upgrade, have the possibility of playing for a tempo. Booster pack could potentially make some of these pairs for us, whereas with Epoch we could be immediately taking it and rolling if we wanted to just hit these pairs. Generally, on the econ side, people are more leaning towards gold this set because it offers the possibility to buy the charms and also make those econ intervals rather than something like an Epoch. Bodyguard training though, great for the tempo purposes. Not going to be as strong as items, but still if you go on a mixed streak, you're going to be having a great time, something you may be considering worth the wait. A lot of players are in love with both worth the wait 1 and worth the wait 2, provides you with direction, provides you the possibility of playing around. Clutter Mine could also complete some of the pairs for ourselves. If you complete too many, you might not be able to get the first round value, but it's generally going to be played into the fast 8 game style. Same with the worth of wait. Simply get that 3-star and tempo off from there. That would be a good general game plan, although if you hit something from the solar part, I suppose he might be leaning against it, because it can be forcing you to pretty much play into solar if you want it to be very optimal, and we do not have components for it just because there's so many hits. We're going to opt into making that Camille rather than Karma. Karma is an extremely strong early game unit in my opinion, but the Camille is also one of those absolute beasts. We do not even have a Ravager here, and we are going to be picking up this Econ Charm that's going to be allowing us to push the levels here against the Stoneplate Pebbles. Alright, I mean, player just slamming items for slamming purposes. Immediately picking up this Econ Charm has paid us Sophia, managed to find a Kog'Maw, going to be ditching that Camille for that. She did her job, and we can be immediately slamming this Spear of Shojin if you wanted to. Great in both Kog'Maw versions. Either if you get many rods, you can be playing into that AP version with Jeweled Gauntlet and Death Cap, something like that, and in the AD version where we're just pretty much making the opposite, or making Infinity Edge, and then we can finish off with the last item. Almost up with anything we want. Striker's Flare doing great. Any form of AD item, obviously just don't make the last Whisper, because Kog'Maw is going to be providing you with that Shred and Sunder. Constantly looking to be playing the strongest board, getting some frontline trades up there, just your fundamental basics. Get a frontline trade, get a backline trade going. Don't think we're going to be doing great against the Cassiopeia. Also has picked up that bodyguard training on her side. That's going to be there's some overlap with defenders, but the Cassiopeia being so strong right now, as long as you can stall for her. No, we're going to be able to pick up the win nonetheless. The team are actually putting in quite a bit of damage on his side. Having the Shred and Sunder has generally helped us, and we obviously went for the Sterak's Gauge Slam right there to be able to pick up the win. Can be transitioned into that Master Yi, onto that Master Yi, but also what I've been noticing him doing is tacking in a Rengar here into this Master Yi reroll comp, because well, you're probably having a hard time finding that set, because there are just simply so many players playing around the Blossom currently. For example, you Jelly went on to be rank 2 on the NA for a while by just pretty much spamming Blossom as her main part, and set with the Krug is a pairing that generally can stabilize your front line in many lines. We are giving up Blossom that way, but it gives us another unit to be rolling on for level 7. It also can be serving as an econ engine for ourselves. Therefore, he just fits quite nicely, and when you have a unit to be ending the game on level 8 for, do not have something like a Rasp, which is bit in general setting, because the board links so well on level 7. And, well, you could be tossing on that Gromp, but Gromp might just be ending up fluttering your bench space in that case. And it's just simply a Rengar 3, if you have the items for him, is going to be a nice power spike. Also, the Steris Gauge can be serving for ourselves as a frontline option. Unfortunately, not being able to finish off on the 5-3 here, as our teammate Upset Max is going to be putting an end to that. Nicely played around here, went for that aggressive Steris Gauge slams, then picked up a sword to complete another item to get the speed of charge and being the best possibility. And okay, you can see part of his writing, but essentially once he gets rewarded, gets that immediate jeweled gauntlet right there. A little bit of a memeing between the fellow competitors. And now we are also playing in the reduced level cost encounter. Another encounter that's going to be synergizing with something like the bodyguard training if you were opting to push that level 8 and then looking to end that game on level 9. Or maybe fast 9 if you have the prime spot to be doing so. Going to be immediately slamming the Gunblade right here, although now this is a matchup where I would believe that we simply might not have the front line, but he's such a strong believer into this Vi. She's going to be healing any durability. Unfortunately, the Vanguard is going to be taking her out, and another thing that he is not very confident in slamming this Gunblade across his games. But for our next augment, Healing Orb is generally decent for something like that from solo frontline and Electro Charge whenever you have a super tank like Vi, but we're currently in need of some money. 3-cost reroll is extremely expensive, and therefore we're just looking for an Econ augment and hoping for an item augment on the last tile. Beast Within, we do not really have a way to be playing around this Sivir. It's fine, but you would pretty much be having to carry around something like the primal units because the second blessing, the only generic one, is the healing, right? Booster pack versus Cognitive Overload. Cognitive Overload is going to be just that tiny bit more in value, and also has the guaranteed 2 3-cost champions, where the booster pack will not have that for ourselves. Could value an extra flip behind it, but we are wanting a Econ augment after all. Therefore, probably just going to be going with Cognitive Overload here. It's pretty much one of the best hits we could be taking. I don't think there's that much else. Going to be finding that Krug, which obviously links our board. And also we were on that odd XP interval, so this is nicely going to put us back onto the even XP. And we're going to be having the leveling interval, if I'm not mistaken, in the next turn. So we could be looking to push level 7 and maybe even try to stabilize by a true aggressive play right here. We are not particularly rich though. I mean, we have this XP, but just looking at our board value at the moment is not worth that much gold. So we might be sacrificing a few econ breakpoints just in order to stabilize. Having to see if there's anyone else in the lobby, perhaps maybe playing around some of the 3 costs. That could help us hit a little bit further. Going to be picking up the Curio card and just simply picking up a free component. Didn't see anything more worthwhile right in there. And yeah, going to be rolling here quite deep, skipping on those Krug upgrades. You can see he knows that this Krug is not going to be on his level 7 board, not going to be investing. He's not holding the items. And we were rewarded by picking up the Kog'Maw too, which is generally just going to be a better item carrier. And we're going to be picking up a narrow win here against the Aphelios. The Aphelios did target our Kog'Maw in the last second, but our supporting units managed to do it. And we did not find the single the single Master Yi even. And he seems he definitely wants to be having that Blossom in for his level 7, because the part of the edge of the reroll this set is by being able to buy a charm pretty much every single turn. We get that Rengo too right there. Going to be setting us a further another Econ interval back, but we're going to be picking up, and nonetheless also picking up the charm, as you can see, and completing the Infinity Edge for our Kog'Maw for now. Generally, AD Kog'Maw seems to be a little bit more leaning towards into this land, though you have a lot of uses for swords if you wanted to. But yes, Blossom is going to be increasing your ability, making your charm stronger, right? And if you are picking out them every single turn, you can particularly you're kind of bridging the gap of stage 4 is generally weak for 3-cost reroll because you're sitting on 2 stars and players are starting to hit their 2-star 4 costs. Well, in this set you are getting econ taxed by the charms you have been buying. Therefore, hitting on level 8 is a little bit more flippy, and players are not going to be stabilizing perhaps as hard unless they're going Giga Econ, but then they're lacking in items or combat power. And you have the possibility of picking up lots of rounds, and particularly this Vi is just extremely strong. And also you are going to be able to afford actual proper charms for your team, not just buying the first one you see sometimes, as you have to do on your level 8 roll downs just to unlock that shop slot. You can hold on, look for a little bit better one. You can also opt to when you want to be digging even deeper by scouting your matchup pool. And with Blossom, those charms are obviously going to be empowered. So we have managed to bounce back our econ by finding that econ charm right there before, and actually sitting here on 5 Ys, we're 6 Ys, and we finally find that set before everyone's rolling down. You could see he was valuing having that Blossom in just before, even without her. Picking up, holding on to these Morganas, even though, well, she's generally an amazing unit. Could be slowing someone down. Going to be going with the Kraken Slam and keeping the open belt. Very flexible components we could be opting to play around. Most often players prefer into this line to be playing around Master Yi items prior, then Y, and then only Kog'Maw, but with the way this game has panned out, it just simply makes sense for us to be doing so. Going to be picking up a narrow win here against the Blossom player around, playing around the forces, whole leveling forcing. That is a strong combination. For our last augment selection, we could be generally angling for something like the item augment or even a little bit more econ, even though we are on a lot of copies, perhaps a little higher on the copy side given how aggressive we were rolling. Clockwork Accelerator though is just a garbage combat option. I mean, it's fine, maybe in something like an Aphelios, but other lines is just not going to be strong. Group Hug is going to make it tricky for ourselves to position around with that solo frontline Vi. That is going to be our plan. Booster pack. There's going to be a lot of econ if we take something like the econ here, and just picking up a big grab bag here. There are so many to carries to itemize. We still need Vi items, we need Mastery items, we want Rengar items, it seems also. So just boost big grab bag is going to be the best option right here. Find another set to slow down further even these Blossom players. Get double, well, we can make red buff, we still need some sort of anti-heal, right? Removing the item there, and you can see he's even skipping the charms. Find a 1 to reroll with all 3, because we are only a single Y away right now at the 10 gold here. Going to be transitioning the items right now to have that Gunblade onto that Master Yi, just for a little bit more survivability. But I've seen him even make multiples of these sometimes just to keep this fight alive, and particularly when she's going to be on one item, we need all the support we can for her, even though she's extremely strong. Very close fight here against Aphelios again, but again, by winning just by a single unit to keep our streak alive, that further bounces our econ back, find that Vi tree pretty much naturally. This is going to be an amazing spot for ourselves. Unfortunately, we do not have the items, but he also had a duplicator from the sky. Going to be rolling once to see if we can possibly get some kind of a charm. I'm going to be picking this one up, and it seems that the Rengar here is going to be sticking with ourselves since we are at 5 copies. But we still need a lot of items for this guy to become useful. You can see that's why sometimes in games he even is going to be taking double item augments. Obviously something like the portable forge is extremely strong as well into this line. Many hits you can be getting. There is some overlap theoretically with the Yi and Rengar itemization, because Yi wants that attack speed. Generally his base is going to be that Rage Blade. Same goes for Rengar. But you can see already displayed from this game, just by playing for that early tempo with a pretty much what I would call a suboptimal itemization, at least for this Master Yi, he still has managed to put up a strong level 7 stage 4 board. Going to be picking up a Reforger here, as we just simply do not want to be investing a little bit more gold, I suppose. Open sword is going to be fine for this Rengar to be playing around, but we are not, even without a stone plate, obviously, since we 3-star her divide, but even before we were opting to go for this position. Going to be unfortunately losing to a Blossom board that seems to be playing around 7 Blossom. Picked up that spatula before from the carousel, and now the RA2 is right there. And yeah, with the Zyra 2 also supporting and the Ashe, this is going to be just ruining our streak. There's not much we can do about it. And they're also going to be holding onto this Master Yi. That is the reason why we are only at 3 copies still, but thankfully only a single copy away from this Kog'Maw. Going to be swapping the sides as we possibly want to be on a little bit more on the weaker side, going and queuing into Ujeli, who's also playing around that Blossom. Having a tough time breaking through the set. She also has opted to make that Sentinel 2 for a little bit of an extra frontline, so that's a neat trick to pick up there. And we had an Econ Charm because we simply need to be making Econ back somehow. And you can see this is one way he has been making up for a little bit of lack of an Econ by fishing for strong econ charm. So he seems to be having a pretty great read. Pretty great read on how to approach the playing around charms. Get dropped even more AD components. Pick up a set 2, so that's going to be slowing down all those Blossom players. Well, one of them had already hit their set 2, but yeah, we're going to be utilizing this Reforger to see if we can maybe have a little bit more of a frontline presence. Not opting to even go with that Stoneplate, opting to go with the Spirit Visage instead, because this nicely completes a Bloodthirster for our Rengar, gives us some kind of an itemization. Could also just be moving this Bloodthirster with these 5 Reforgers over to Vi just to have 3 item Vi. 3 items is generally going to be a little bit better synergy, and the shield is a shield after all. And yeah, he's going to be doing that even though we have that Gunblade. Still, just getting survivability into this melee bruisery kind of build onto this Vi is going to be completely fine. Swapping sides just prematurely and just for whatever, and yeah, Dash to level 8, this is going to be hard for us to be getting through, particularly since he also had that nice angle for our Kog'Maw to be putting the slow effect onto him, but the fight is getting quite close. The Kog'Maw, still if one more ult comes through, we cannot see the HP bar, but it's extremely close and we're going to be taking them out. Even with forcing, which gives us gives the enemy team so much HP, this is going to hopefully open up some of the Master Yi's that all these Blossom players have been holding from ourselves. And we are only a single Rengar away. Obviously, I would imagine we transition the items onto him from this Master Yi. Again, onto the weaker side, the Brambleback does get stuck on our Vi and Maori. Master Yi made it to the backline, killed off the Zyre. Unfortunately, didn't go exactly onto the Felios, but we're going to be leaving this player as single live. You can see another extremely strong augment item extraction right there, pretty much allowing you to guarantee 4 components of what you want. That's extremely strong. We definitely would be looking to be picking up the Semumu here with that Rage Blade, I would assume. Oh no, we probably wanted to improve our itemization on the front line, but he opted to go for Titans. It's 5 gold, and it's generally also one of the Master Yi Abyss because there's just so much CC. QSSS is also a fine option to be making, and same goes for Rengar, but you ideally have that Titan Resolve because he has the both scaling of AD and AP part. You're hoping to keep him AD, and by default I think he is, but QSSS has that scaling attack speed effect also right there. Picked up another Econ Charm just so we can be finally fishing for this Master Yi, but that you can see almost every time now that we are picking up an Econ Charm. Obviously we have been a little bit unfortunate to queue into super strong boards, but we are losing. And we are still going to be stuck here onto this level 7 for a while. We're not holding onto this Grom for a potential level. Unfortunately, again, we queue into the wrong side, but this set is starting to melt quite early on, but she also has that Sentinel right there for extra frontline, and Morgana also a nice pairing right there, but this Rengar is going to be drain tanking quite a lot, and this Vi is just simply not falling over. Even with this wicked itemization, she is so damn strong of a unit. There have been cases where just an ideal setup, this double Stoneplate Vi 3, I had Vegars with 150 plus AP, obviously with Shredded on their side, full crit damage, and they just cannot kill something like this Vi. And you can see here that comps that are going to be lacking the single target damage like that Ahri and Morgana duo, they just cannot do anything against this unit. And there's a lot of this splash damage currently also into the meta, therefore this unit is just extremely strong as long as your frontline can remain alive. Going to be improving the itemization onto her. Now this Veigar, again, he took like 3 ult rotations for him. That pretty much allowed us to clean up the rest of his board. And we're going, the Veigar just takes 1 ult to the face, does not care, clears off the fight. And we are in a commanding position to be hopefully closing out this game. A-Long just here is going to be contesting ourselves. We finally find that last Master Yi that we were searching for. Went for that, I believe. Tried to execute the remover trick, but we have a lot of removers, and we are hoping that, I would assume, with leaving the itemization like this, maybe picking up a little bit better item onto the Vi right here, into this Blossom player again here, and we are going to be finishing off their ghost, but the fight is extremely strong. A-Long also has that Primal Lux, let's see, sorry, the Primal, but the Blossom Lux. Going to be picking up consumables, we want any kind of a charm right here. Going to be making it Nidalee, she's going to be defaulting to that AD version. There is a little bug here going around where whenever you upgrade her with items, she's going to be 40 mana instead of 20, so you just need to remove her the items and sometimes even bench her. Just play around with that in case you see the 40 mana Nidalee. Our melee carries are going to be taken out here by that Veigar. A little bit unfortunate positioning, but our Ghost is going to be taking out the other player. It wasn't Elong who was playing around Blossom. That is my fault. Now we were going to be fine to be picking up the Stone Plate. Nicely going to be transitioning the Sterak's Gauge onto the Rengar right here. And we should be, I believe, in a very strong position. Now we're going to be moving that to the Mastery, giving him more survivability there, and not even going to be making that Titan's Resolve for that Mastery, just going for more maximum power. And yeah, Elong here playing around that Veigar reroll onto his side, transition into more some kind of a Malphite flex kind of a board, but obviously with Rek'Sai taking that place. But Rengar made it jump to the backline, got retargeted because our frontline went down, and that is going to allow the Veigar to clean up the fight. But now he still has a couple of more targets, and he's been going a single target. He's not going to be able to get to the Kog'Maw in time, and we're going to be picking up a win. This is looking quite good for ourselves, despite still being stuck on level 7. You can see he has that Sentinel put in right there, just a little bit more frontline presence, and getting that Invoker for that Kog'Maw plus overall mana gen for team is not that bad at all. Helps them also the Vitamin a little more durable. Now we're going to be onto the same side. This Veigar probably has stacked extremely high, has a strong itemization, has the Gunblade to keep their own tank alive. This again is going to be spilling the same scenario where once our Y goes down, the Veigar is just simply going to eat up our melee carries with single target nukes, and this guy is going to be scaling every single turn and has that Zyro in for extra durability. So simply, again, Gunblade pairing into a single frontline Stoneplate tank is extremely strong, and these both players here playing around that reroll, which has shown extreme potential. The possibility to just be buying these charms every single turn allows you to bridge the gap with all those fast 8 players, and you are able to push levels later on and see, because generally your caps are not going to be the most contested units. Elong has picked up a Soraka too as well. Seeing if there's anything we can do regarding this positioning, but simply the Veigar has so much stacked up AP that he's going to be melting this Vi and keeping the Rek'Sai alive. Our melees go down, the same scenario, unfortunately going to be ending up second here. Overall, a very well played game by Wigwugg here, displaying his true mastery of the line, knowing particularly how to itemize these units, what stats benefit each unit the most, when to be swapping between them. Also was not afraid to be quite aggressive early on, saw that econ, charm, and overall knew particularly what charms his spot demanded, what charms could be appearing in his shop, and when to be investing into the charm, sometimes even going multiple rounds with that shop slot being locked down. Refused to push levels until he found that Mastery E3. Unfortunately, that delayed us quite a long time because there were so many Blossom players, but we were still able to take them out with this nice pairing of Rengar into this comp as well. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something new, and I wish to see you in the next one. Take it easy.